EPA went into Dimmock and said to people, do not drink your water.
And so far, they have permitted 9 billion gallons of toxic fracking wastewater to be dumped directly into the ocean without any kind of treatment.
Methane in some of the water wells, enough for ignition at the tap.
The water came out looking like coffee with milk in it.
My life is over without my water.
And this has led to irresponsible fracturing or fracking.
There was just like this red, nasty water just coming, just oozing out the side of the...
This is a national crisis. And I talk to scientists who tell me that fracking is doing terrible things to water systems.
In America, where fracking...
Hydraulic fracturing or fracking.
Fracking activity.
Fracking.
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 Fracking. Fracking chemicals have now been found in Pennsylvania drinking water.
If you live in or near Pennsylvania, you've probably heard a lot about fracking, and most of it has been negative. The media often condemns fracking without considering the benefits. But there's more than just one side to this story. The question is, do the economic benefits outweigh the environmental costs? So what is fracking? Fracking is short for hydraulic fracturing, and according to John Manfreda, attorney and oil industry specialist, the fracking process is pretty simple. A well is drilled a mile or more into the ground encased in metal and cement. Then a horizontal well is drilled at the level of the gas deposit. To fracture the rock deposit and release the gas, a mixture of water, sand, and chemicals is pumped down into the ground at high pressures. A mixture of debris, gas, and wastewater is pumped back up the well. This wastewater is highly contaminated and costs a lot to process it. Oftentimes, it is pumped back underground by wastewater wells. One of the biggest reasons why modern fracking is so controversial is that it is so new. We don't have decades of environmental analysis to know the long-term effects of fracking. However, we are aware of some of the short-term environmental effects, including increased methane gas production. According to Joe Hoffman from Carleton University, 4% of methane produced by fracking wells escapes into the atmosphere. This damage is equal to the carbon emissions of 1 to 3 million cars. The vehicles involved in equipment and water transport during the fracking process also release lots of air pollutants. But the air above our heads isn't the only thing to worry about. The ground beneath our feet is also affected by fracking. One method for disposing of fracking wastewater involves injecting it deep underground. According to CBS, this method of disposal has been linked to astoundingly increased seismic activity in Oklahoma, which now has more earthquakes per day than California.
In 2014, when hydraulic fracturing started picking up, the number of those events increased to 600. So that's from 22 to 600. 22 events over like 30 years. And then in 1 year you get 600.
Fracking can contaminate streams and rivers when fracking fluid seeps into waterways from deep underground. Fish are swimming in toxic chemicals, and deer, rabbits, and other animals are drinking toxic water. If that's not troubling enough, fracking fluid has also been known to contaminate human drinking sources with methane, making it flammable. Let that sink in. Flammable drinking water. Unfortunately, the flammability of the drinking water isn't the worst thing about it. When fracking fluid and all of the chemicals in it contaminate drinking water sources, the negative health effects for people drinking the water can be astounding.
Like we would take a glass of water out of the tap and it would have like an oil base on the top. You could smell it. It would smell like diesel fuel or some kind of oil thing. You know, I used to go to my sink and get a glass of water. I can't do that anymore. I have to put lotion on my hands 3 times a day from using the water to even wash my dishes or wash my clothes or anything.
According to an article in the journal Human and Ecological Risk Assessment, fracking fluid contains 632 chemicals, 353 of which are identified as potential carcinogens. While the downsides of fracking seem staggering, it's important to remember that this story has 2 sides. Fracking actually has a lot of benefits.
We produce more natural gas than ever before, and nearly everyone's energy bill is lower because of it. The natural gas boom has led to cleaner power and greater energy independence.
Residential consumers and landowners have seen great economic benefits from fracking. According to an article published by the University of Pennsylvania, landowners who lease land for fracking have received more than $1 billion for the rights to their land.
This is a revolution that we've seen. Would you agree?
Yes, it's a wonderful revelation. I mean, it's American capitalism at its best.
But residential consumers are not the only people who have benefited economically from fracking.
How much has it driven the economic recovery, do you think? Is it from your gut feeling?
Well, you know, I just know that in Texas that, you know, probably 65% of the manufacturing jobs right now are in this industry. And the numbers are about 1.7 million jobs are related to this business right now. You know, and in terms of the impact on the economy, you know, that's in the billions of dollars.
According to Houseman, fracking jobs can't be shipped overseas because the shale deposits are domestic. Increase in use of fracking technology has seen a 67% rise in employment. According to an article published by the University of Pennsylvania, 232,000 jobs were created in Pennsylvania in 2013.
The experts believe it could support more than 600,000 jobs by the end of the decade.
For the first time in 18 years, the U.S. is set to produce more oil ourselves than buying it from other countries. So, despite what the media tends to portray, fracking isn't just an environmental issue. Though there are many negative environmental effects, there are also a ton of economic benefits. At the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, are the potential health effects worth the economic boom? Is polluting our water worth our energy independence? Where is the balance between risk and reward?